We've talked, thank you very much for being here. You've talked about, making government smaller. And to do that means you're going to have to cut the payroll, which means we're also talking about increasing jobs. So that means the government's going to have to eliminate jobs. Now, how are you going to explain that to those people who really kind of like their place and accomplish this? I don't see how you can do both.
Yeah, right. So the idea is, for instance, so the last 2 years you've seen in excess of 100,000 federal jobs created, most of which pay over 100,000. That brings benefits and all those issues, meaning the taxpayers pay for that. Here's sort of the fatal conceit of this approach. If you create all these new government jobs in Washington, that then means you've got to take that money out of the private sector to do so. That then means you have to have higher capital rates. You have to have higher tax rates, higher interest rates, because, by the way, all this is borrowed money. I mean, 40 cents on the dollar is borrowed. About half of that is from foreign countries, namely China and others. So is it worth it to create a government job with all this borrowed money, which makes it harder for a private sector job to be created? I mean, who's the servant and who's the master in this exchange? Where does growth and entrepreneurship, higher living standards come from? It comes from the private sector. It doesn't come from the government sector. A strong and vibrant, growing, producing private sector is the secret to prosperity and economic growth, not a strong, growing, and vibrant public sector, because the public sector lives off of the private sector, not the other way around.